Tech companies accused of bending H-1B rules with newspaper job listings. That sounds interesting. Anyway, how we doing today? Appreciate y'all. Hope y'all are doing fantastic. That's what we're going to talk about today. Tech companies accused of bending H-1B rules with newspaper job listings. And this is coming from the Newsweek. Anyway, think of that as what you will, but from Newsweek, I'm going to read through this little article and maybe give some comments on it. But anyway, companies employing H-1B foreign workers seeking green card are required to advertise roles to American-born workers, but those job ads in local newspapers are allegedly targeting immigrants instead. Remember when Obama said we need to hold these companies that are hiring these people accountable for hiring these people? I mean, it didn't say illegal immigrants, but if they are targeting the illegal immigrants, like Obama said years ago, they need to be held accountable. But anyway, in recent blue chip tech companies like OpenAI and Instacart have posted listings in the San Francisco Chronicle with applicants urged to send resumes to immigration or global mobility departments. Under the Department of Labor's rules have to be listed publicly, including in at least 2 major Sunday newspapers. In this case, the Sunday edition of the Chronicle, employers have to list the roles on a state workforce agency site internally at the company itself and 2 other advertising methods of their choice. Americans are not aware that major companies are routinely discriminating against them for the simple fact of being American in their own country. The team behind the jobs, now a website seeking out H-1B roles to share them with Americans, told Newsweek on condition their identities were kept anonymous. Interesting. They're discriminating us because we're white. Sound familiar? At a time when unemployment for college grads is shifting sharply upward, it is important to call out hiring discrimination that could keep Americans unemployed. Are local newspaper ads targeting immigrants? The apparent trend once again spotlights work-based visas, in particular the H-1B, which tends to benefit tech companies, as well as the ongoing tension around the need for immigrant workers versus whether companies are importing cheaper labor, rather than offer roles to American-born or permanent resident workers instead. In the San Francisco Chronicle ads reviewed by Newsweek, OpenAI said it was hiring software engineers, with applicants urged to send resumes to someone working in the global mobility team. Instacart offered multiple positions with similar departments taking applications, while Udemy, an online learning platform, wanted a director of marketing analysis, analytics, and data science, with resumes to be sent to immigration at udemy.com. Why would you need to send your resume to immigration? Newsweek reached out to the 3 companies for comment via email Thursday. In addition to the fact that ads requested applicants to be immigrant in addition to the fact that ads request applicants to immigration or global mobility departments use The use of paper mail or mail only applications suggests these roles are being recruited separately from the company's standard recruiting process. Jobs.now said. These unusual application methods are likely to drive fewer applications than normal processes like posting ads on the company board or in the mainstream career sites like LinkedIn. Are companies bypassing H-1B laws? I'm pretty sure they are. Have you heard of DEI lately? While there is no requirement for companies to advertise jobs to those in the U.S. first before the H-1B hire, there are rules when it comes to what is known as the PERM process. That is when companies look to sponsor an immigrant for a green card. At this stage, they are meant to test the market and prove to the Department of Labor that they cannot fill the role with an American employee and that the existing H-1B holder is vital to the job in question. At that point, most employers have identified a specific foreign worker already working for them on an H-1B visa they want to sponsor. And now they have to go test the labor market. Nadine Zavrodny, an economics professor with immigration focus at the University of North Florida, told Newsweek in March. The team behind Jobs.now alleged that employers are bending the rules, which require local newspaper ads and not necessarily online listings, to skew the results in their favor. This is despite former President Joe Biden's Department of Justice reaching two landmark settlements with Facebook in 2021 and Apple in 2023 over their practices in advertising roles. Sorry about that. If companies are continuing with these practices, then it will likely only add to the ongoing debate around the H-1B and its place within the U.S. immigration system. President Donald Trump has shown his support for the program, but his Vice President DJ Vance has been vocal recently that it needs change. Yeah, it needs change. Well, first of all, it needs to be enforced. These guys aren't even enforcing it. I mean, whether it needs to be changed or not, that's irrelevant, but it needs to be enforced for sure. And this is the whole problem with immigration. I know that's a big controversial thing, immigration. I'm not going to get a whole lot into the ICE immigrations and all that. I've had separate videos on that, but this is the problem: is they're bringing them in and giving them the jobs over the American people. And that's what this whole thing is. That Obama was fighting that. Bill Clinton was fighting that. Trump was fighting that. They're coming in and they're stealing our jobs. They're coming in, they're getting paid less to do the same job. Yeah, okay, I get it. Companies are wanting to cut costs, but they're cutting their cost of the wrong thing. They're cutting their labor costs. And you guys are worried about the rich are just getting richer. Well, yeah, because they're getting cheaper labor. These immigrants are coming in, illegally, legally, whatever. I'm not going to argue that, but they're coming in and they're stealing our jobs. They're taking jobs that the American people could do, or those that have been here a while, those that are citizens and whatnot. Even if you're immigrants, you can still be legal immigrants. But they're stealing the jobs of those people just so that the companies can make more money, just so that the rich can get richer. I mean, you guys on the left are, you gripe about tax the rich. The rich are just getting richer. All this just helps the rich. Well, so does this. You're stealing our jobs. You're supportive of immigration. You're supportive of these immigrants. You're trying to fight the deportation of these people, but yet they're here stealing our jobs, and you're totally okay with it. That kind of defeats your argument there. You know, you want them to quit this immigration laws. You want them to quit the deportation. You want to be supportive of these people. So they come in and they take our jobs, which makes the rich richer, which you guys complain about the rich are just getting richer. The rich are just, so what is it? I mean, do you want the rich to get richer, or do you want the immigrants to have all the jobs? Because you can't have both, because the rich are going to get richer if they give the immigrants all the jobs. And the American citizens or the legal immigrants the jobs at a higher pay rate, because we know the economy and so what is it? I mean, you're kind of counteracting yourself here. You want immigration. You want to fight for the illegal immigrants. You want to give them the same rights. You want to give them our jobs and pay them less so the rich can get richer. But then you're getting mad that the rich just keep getting richer. I mean, I don't understand where you're coming from here. We need to, and like I said, even Obama, even Bill Clinton and Obama said we've got to hold these companies accountable because of they're stealing our jobs. They're ruining our economy. They're stealing our jobs of them, and we need to hold these business owners accountable. Even Obama, that came out of Obama's mouth. So those of you that are like, it's a Trump thing, Trump, that came out of Obama's mouth. We need to stop this and give the jobs back to the American people so that the American people can survive, and send these illegals back and let them come through legally and hold these businesses that hire illegals knowingly, willingly, over those that they should be hiring instead. Okay. In late July, GOP Representative Tom Tiffany and Andrew Clyde of Wisconsin and Georgia, respectively, introduced legislation to tighten restrictions on H-1B visa numbers, arguing that American talent should be prioritized over immigrants. America first. While their bill has been announced, other changes have yet to come from the White House or the Department of Homeland Security. Jobs Now has told Newsweek that it wanted to aid in that effort, with more people taking an interest in the issue in recent months. However, we have yet to see concrete evidence that government action in the form of new lawsuits against companies practicing discrimination, despite our users telling us they are reaching out to the Justice Department Employment Rights Division due to their applications being unfairly ignored, the team said. See, it's like, and this isn't necessarily a problem, but it seems like when I'm applying for jobs, I haven't done that in a while, but when I'm applying for jobs or when I'm looking down the job board, a lot of them are saying must be bilingual, must be bilingual, must be bilingual, which I'm not necessarily against that, but it's like, so you're not going to give me the job if I don't know Spanish. That's kind of a discrimination there. You're not going to offer me the job if I don't speak two languages. It's kind of a form of discrimination there, says me. We are hopeful that the government will soon take action to end these illegal practices and protect American workers from discrimination. Yeah. So that's the article on that one. I don't get it either. I mean, it's illegal, and like I said, even Obama's been arguing this for years when he was in president, and he's tried making laws, but it still happens, and it's tech companies. These companies that already make tons of money, And like I said, where does all that extra profit go from these cutting the costs? Where do you think it goes? Board of directors, the CEO, they're just getting more and more wealthy, which is what you guys are trying to fight against. So it sounds like you guys don't really know what you want. You just want what you're being told to want. That's the problem with the left. They say it's us. You just believe every word that comes out of Trump's mouth. You just believe every word that comes out of Fox's mouth. Well, you on the left show that you have no idea what you're battling against, what you're fighting for. Like this shows that you're fighting for immigration, for the illegal immigrants, putting the illegal immigrants before the American people, which makes the rich richer, and then you're against the rich getting richer. It's like, what do you want? You can't have both, okay? But anyway, that's enough of that little rant. Appreciate you. Do the YouTube stuff down below. There's links to some other channels and links to support the channel if you feel like it. I've also got a link to my eBay store. I'm starting to kind of liquidate some of my stuff I've accumulated over the years of prepping and gear reviews and gear stuff. I've got a bunch of that. I'm going to start kind of putting it on eBay. If you go to the store and check it out, and if you send me an inbox message that says YouTube, just mention YouTube, that you saw this on a YouTube video, I'll cut you some free shipping. And it may not be much, but hey, something's better than nothing these days. You know, any savings is better than nothing. But I'll give you free shipping, and if you just send me an inbox, buy it, send me an inbox, say, hey, YouTube. Even if that's all you put is YouTube, then I'll know you saw it here, and I'll give you free shipping. It's not really a discount code. It's just kind of it's like a discount code, but it's not a discount. Just mention YouTube and you get free shipping. But anyway, and also my wife and I were kind of getting into candle making. We were making some candles. I'll be showing some of these on my videos. I'll be shilling a little bit, so those that don't like shilling can just suffer or whatever. But anyway, selling candles, and she makes jewelry and stuff. So you'll see some of that on there. And like I said, anything you buy, just send me an inbox message, says, saw this I came here through YouTube, and you get free shipping. So anyway, appreciate y'all. YouTube stuff. Even if all you do is a subscribe, even if you don't do all that other stuff and just hit that subscribe, every teeny tiny little bit helps. Anyway, appreciate y'all. Love you, and we will see you in the next one.